Grace to you and peace. It's a very difficult day, but thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. I invite the family just to look up and see. They love Will. Thank you all for coming. We want to thank so many who've made this day possible, working here to honor Will, honor the family, honor his honor as someone who was prepared to serve. Thank you all for coming. Please stand for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem.
Present colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets, red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you all for coming. And thank you, Acapellas and Acafellos and the Color Guard. Everything we do today is to honor Will. The precision, the beauty, the dedication. We're grateful that Father Carl Bergen, who was such an important part of Will's faith journey, is here to be with us and to lead us in our opening prayer. Father Carl.
Good afternoon, everybody. I particularly wore my white stole with a Celtic knot, which represents life, death, and eternity. It's in a pre-Christian burial chamber in Ireland. Sorry, this side. In Ireland, it goes back to before Christianity, 6,000 years ago. And I think our forefathers were reaching beyond themselves for something to bring meaning to their lives. One of the young men that Will met through his faith journey said the following: "My heart is in my stomach. I spoke to Will during our confirmation preparation. You had sent me his contact information so we discuss our sacraments and yearnings of faith. I did not know Will well because I did not have to. He and I connected quickly. He was very driven on his goal to serve God and country. My prayers go out to his family. Our Embry-Riddle community has lost a very young soul. Thank you for being there for them. God bless. There's a young little boy called Matty J.P. Stefanuc. He died at the age of 10, but he was very gifted in poetry and reflection. And I often use them in times when I struggle for words, because sometimes poetry or music can speak to the occasion. So this is my opening prayer. For our world, we need to stop. Just stop. Stop for a moment. Before anybody says or does anything that may hurt anyone else. We need to be silent. Just silent. Silent for a moment. Before we forever lose the blessings of song that grows in our hearts. We just need to notice. Just notice. Notice for a moment. Before the future slips away into ashes and dust of humility. Stop. Be silent and to notice. In so many ways, we are the same. Our differences are unique treasures. We are a mosaic of gifts to nurture, to offer, to accept. We need to be, just be for a moment. Kind and gentle, innocent and trusting, like children and lambs, never judging or vengeful, like the judging and vengeful. Now, let us pray, differently yet together, because there is no earth, no life, no chance for peace. Words of Matty J.P. Stefanuc, age 10.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today to honor the memory of Midshipman Will Schuessler. He was taken from us far too early, and I think that it's appropriate for us all to gather here to remember what he meant to us. Thank you to the Dean of the College of Aviation and the School of Aviation for letting us have this space as a pilot. I think Will would have really appreciated the view and having this memorial here. There's really no way to talk about this unspeakable loss in a way that makes any sense. He was taken far, far too young and far too early and had too many great things in front of him. But together, I think we can grieve together and help find solace in each other. So thank you again for being here today. Midshipman Schuessler was a good midshipman, but he would have been a great Marine. I really enjoyed our time together in the battalion. He was my battalion sergeant major, so I got to work closely with him. And I also had him in my classroom in leadership and ethics, and I really enjoyed the time we spent together and watching him grow as a man and mature as a leader. I feel lucky to have been there during that time. I'm also fortunate that I was able to spend some time with Midshipman Schuessler on his last day. Our last few moments were very special to me. At the time, I thought that I was giving him a gift, that I was teaching him some lessons about leadership and giving him something that he could take out into the fleet. Maybe that I was investing something in him that he would appreciate and inspire him. It wasn't until after he was gone and I reflected on our conversation, even before it happened, that I realized that I was the one who received the gift. It was a very special moment for me and one that I'm never going to forget. It's my personal tradition to present one of my coins to each of my midshipmen when they graduate to be a commissioned officer. I had set one aside for Will that I did not get a chance to give him, but he has absolutely earned it. And I'd like to give it to him today. Thank you, everyone, again for being here, and fair winds and following seas.
Thank you, Captain Medina. The student body president, Commander Torino Garcia, is unable to be here today. He's completing an internship, is unable to be here, but he sent some words he asked me to read on behalf of the student body. We gather today in both grief and gratitude. Grief for the loss of a fellow Eagle, a friend, and a leader among us. Gratitude for the life of Midshipman Will Schuessler, whose time here at Embry-Riddle left an indelible mark on our community. I must humbly admit I did not know him personally, but through the voices of his classmates, his instructors, and his friends, I've come to know the qualities that defined him. He was not only a dedicated aeronautical science student, but a Marine options midshipman whose spirit lifted the ERAU program and everyone within it. He brought progress, mentorship, and a steadfast motivation that inspired others to be their best. He never hesitated to extend a helping hand, never hesitated to be there for someone in need. It is said that a measure of a person's life is not in the number of years they live, but in the depth of the impact they leave behind. Will's impact was profound. His example reminds us that service, mentorship, and courage are not only lofty ideals reserved for another time, or not lofty ideals reserved for another time, but living principles we can embody here and now. As we mourn together, we also carry forward his spirit. We carry it in the classroom, on the flight line, in our squadrons and divisions. We carry it when we choose to help one another, when we lift someone who is struggling, when we make the choice to serve rather than to stand aside. Though Will's watch here with us has ended, his mission continued. It continues in each of us who strive to build a better campus, a stronger core, and a more passionate world. His memory calls us not to despair, but to action. Let us honor Will Schuessler not only with our words today, but with the lives we live tomorrow. May we find strength in his example, comfort in our shared community, and inspiration to carry forward his legacy of service and selflessness. From Ander, our student body president. The family may remember a person, Paul Maggiore, his wrestling coach, and I think guidance counselor, school counselor. We went back and found his letter of recommendation for Will. And this is one of the things that brought him here to be with us. I just want to read a few sentences, and I think we'll all see that we know who he is. He's a young man with unmistakable leadership skills, the very best that Downers Grove High School has to offer. Perhaps what is most amazing is his ability to raise his peers' level of intensity and commitment while manifesting a "we are all in this together" attitude. The midshipman, am I right? Right. Will's that desire to succeed has never been fueled by personal accomplishment, by the success of the team as a unit. He's, in the best sense of the word, an ultimate team player. On a personal note, there are few individuals that I have known in life, adults and young people alike, that I would consider to be as thoughtful and heartfelt as Will. He enjoys an extremely supportive family, which explains in part his positive view of life. He is as sincere and genuine as any individual I've ever met. He is a person of character and truly what I like to call a man for others. And that's from someone who knew him, and those words could have been from anyone here who knew him as well. This time I'd like to invite Dr. Alan Stolzer to come make a presentation, please.
Good afternoon. Today, it is my privilege as Dean to recognize the academic achievements of Will Schuessler. His passion for aviation and his dedication to learning brought him to this moment in his academic journey. With solemn pride, Embry-Riddle confers upon Will, posthumously, the degree of Bachelor of Science in Aeronautical Science. In doing so, we honor not only his scholarly accomplishments, but also the commitment, inspiration, and love of flight that he shared with all who knew him. May this degree serve as a lasting tribute to Will's legacy and to the steadfast support of his family and friends. Will is forever an Embry-Riddle Eagle.
For those of you who will be graduating December or May or some year in the future, this is one of our great traditions, the singing of the alma mater. And so as we celebrate and honor his academic achievement, this is his
Eagles gather near, we lift our voices loud and clear, soaring high, O alma mater, threads of blue and gold. United we soar in vast open skies, Embry-Riddle, we hail thee, great memories we'll hold. So here's to you, O ERAU, alma mater true. We pledge in love and harmony our loyalty to you. Singing thy praise, remembering the days, coast to coast around the world, our bonds forever true. Embracing our dreams with pride far and wide. Embry-Riddle, we hail thee, great memories we'll hold. So here's to you, O ERAU, alma mater true. We pledge in love and harmony our loyalty to you.
Thank you, acapellas and acafellas. Thank you so much. This time now, we'd like to share some stories. Here's some stories about Will. And we have a couple folks who are ready to get us started. And Barbara, tell us about your brother.
Hi, everybody. My name is Barb Schuessler. Will was my older brother. I don't have the physical copy of the letter that I wrote for him for his graduation at OCS, but I just wanted to share the impact that he had on my life and many others around him, but just him being my biggest role model. You are my biggest role model, and everything I do, I would think of you. I always wanted to make you proud and think, what would Will think? Would he think that this was funny or that this was cool? I never looked up to anyone more than him. I wanted to be just like him. He's everything I could have wanted in a brother, and now I have to do things in honor of him. I had talks with him about becoming a Marine, and now I know that this is for sure something I am doing, because I would do anything to make Will proud, and just anything to be near him and share anything with him. So I just wanted to share that here today, just so you guys know the impact that he made on my life as being my big brother. Thank you.
Go by Barb. Barb, on behalf of the Embry-Riddle Admissions Committee, we'd like to send you an invitation to come here and join and study. Your brother made a great choice, and love to see you here too. The family also asked another, thank you, Barb, that's beautifully done. Brendan Buckles, another friend, if you'd like to come forward and share a story as well, please.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Probably gonna cry. I really don't care. So I met Will my freshman year of college, just a naive midshipman. We met at a Paris Island FEX, so field exercise, and he just happened to be in my platoon, happened to be in my squad, and happened to be my fire team. And the moment I met the kid, I was like, he's just cool. I like Will, and he was just funny. I really didn't know that I was gonna get to know him as well as I did. I didn't know I was gonna build a bond, but we just kicked it, at Paris Island, and we just had a good time. And I didn't really see him again until the next training, which was in Norfolk, Virginia, and Roni, Daniel, who I don't know who else was there, but we got closer. We just had a good time, and Will always know how to do that, and he always knew how to make people happy. And it wasn't until our next training, so for some reason I was cursed to be with Will for every training that I ever had. We were at Fleet Marine Force Marine Month, so really we were just kicking it with some infantry guys, just shadowing them, kind of annoying them all summer. And again, Will was in my platoon, in my squad, and in my fire team. And I laughed more that summer than I've ever laughed before. And to the guys that were at FMF with us, you can account for that. That Will just, he knew how to make everybody laugh. He knew how to have a good time. And that summer wouldn't have been the same without Will, to kind of keep our mood up. And then the summer after that, Will got cursed again. We were at the same OCS together, and the day before OCS, I live about 45 minutes away from here, and I came a day early because I just wanted to spend a day with Will, and we wanted to kind of relax before we had butterflies. We were nervous about OCS, and we just want to spend time with him. And that's what we did. We just had a day with Will, like Will and Brendan Day, and it was awesome. And I'm so grateful for that day. I'm grateful for him. We went to the beach. We just rode, we just had fun. We just had a day together. We were on the same plane, going to OCS. We took the same flight. We were at the airport together, on the bus to OCS, for lack of a better term, shitting bricks together, but, comforting each other. We were in different platoons. Probably for the better. We probably would have ended up getting in trouble, getting kicked out. But I remember running the initial PFT, and, I'm running, and I see Will probably 200 yards in front of me. I'm like, this dude can't beat me. So, I run to catch up with him. And, being funny, I come up and just slap him on the butt. I said it, just ran past him, didn't say anything. And we're probably, 100 yards away from the finish line. And next thing I know, he's running past me, and he beats me on the PFD. So you got that one, Will. Will's birthday was August 10th, 11 days ago. And, I call him on his birthday, and I said, I won't really tell you what I said, but I was like, what's up, dude? We call each other names, vulgar, whatever, but out of love, I was like, what's up, dude? What are you doing for your birthday? And he's like, I'm running 22 miles. I was like, bullshit, dude. You're not running 22 miles. He's like, nah, I'm running 22 miles. And I said, well, I'm not letting you do it by yourself. So I said, we can meet at my house, and we can run 11 miles one way, turn around, and 11 miles back, And I wouldn't let him do it alone. And I wouldn't have ran 22 miles for my birthday because it's crazy, but Will motivated me to do that. And he set the pace, and he listened to me complain the whole time. He listened to me, bitch and moan, for lack of better terms. But he motivated me, and that's what Will did. A lot of people know him for, how an exceptional pilot he was, or, a good Marine option he was, and I think he was a great one. All these accomplishments he's made, but I know Will as a friend, as a brother, as somebody that just, knew how to motivate people and inspired me. I never would have told him that, but I looked up to Will, Never would have admitted it, but, I don't want to say jealous, but I was jealous of Will, but in a good way, in a competition way, and it made me better, and I didn't really realize it, but Will, he made me a better person while he was here, but with him gone, he's going to make me an even better person, just like we were saying earlier, doing things in honor of Will, doing things. I have a new perspective, these last couple of days have been hard for me, but I found a new outlook, I found a new perspective. I'm so much more at peace with people, I'm so much more intentional. I'm just so much more, the things that matter to me are the things I'm going to prioritize, not the things that really just don't matter. I got an opportunity to just talk on the phone, talk about Will with Mr. Schuessler, and I needed that, and I'm sure he did too, more than I really knew. And we talked about, his investment in Will, and was it all for no reason? And an investment, I mean, time, love, even money, and I'm sure Will wasn't cheap, but it wasn't for no reason, Will will always have a place in my heart. He'll always mean something to me. He'll always be a brother. He'll always be a friend. He'll always be a fellow Marine. He earned that title. We earned it together, and that's something that we bonded over. The Marine Corps. They might have not have always done things right. It might be controversial. Whatever. Some people might not like the government now. So, just all these different things. But I think the one thing the Marine Corps does do right is care for each other. And the people. And that's why I want to stay in the Marine Corps, because I've met, men like Will, friends like Will, and I look around and I see my brothers and I see my sisters, and I'm so proud to serve with you guys. I would have been even prouder to serve with Will, because he would have been the type of Marine, a selfless Marine, a Marine that looks out for his Marines. Without a doubt, I know he would have been that. Will would just call me. He would, when we would call just to talk, just to, I really can't say enough about Will. I can sit up here all day, all night, talk about Will, just, how much of a good buddy he was, but he's not gone. He's still in our heart. So, and I would like to pray just for Will. I something that's very important to me is my faith, and I just want to pray for us and pray for Will. So, dear God, sometimes we don't really know why you do things. Sometimes we don't have all the answers, but I believe you have a purpose. I know you do. I know me and Will have had conversations, and his conviction, our conviction, and we kind of, that's one thing that we, motivate each other in, is our faith in you. I know that you have a plan for all of us. You have a plan for life. None of this is for no reason. And I just want to pray that you take care of Will's soul. And I know he's in a place where, with unexplainable joy, where there's no pain, where he's happy. He's probably in a, I don't know, F-35 flying right now, or something that we don't even, some type of plane that we don't even know. He's doing what he loves. He's probably with relatives that he hasn't seen. He's probably with, ancestors that are proud of him. He's somewhere better than where we are. And I just want to pray for Will. I want to pray for those that are mourning for him, and keep them positive in this dark time. And I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Barb, for sharing these stories. Interesting to hear how common, right? Will making people better. If there are others who have a story they'd like to share, I know the family has found the sharing of stories over the last several days to be very powerful. If there are others who'd like to share a story, please come forward. And any stories you'd like to share, or any thoughts you'd like to reflect on together? Okay, here we go.
Hello. A lot of people here more than I expected. I want to just start by saying thank you all for being here. I think by the amount of people that we have here, just shows the impact that he had on all of us, big or small. I just want to tell a quick story I have of me and Will. A lot of times our lunch periods didn't really match, but every now and then it would. And after a while, I'm sure the students who go here know, Qdoba and Chick-fil-A get a little old, so we went to Cane's because they just built it, and he was like, hey, I got this good spot. So we got Cane's, we're in his Jeep, and it was like a parking lot right next to the airstrip. And we would just sit there and we'd eat our lunch and we'd watch the planes land and be like, oh, that's a Gulf Stream, or hey, that's a Cessna Citation, whatever it may be. And we would just talk about what we wanted to do in life and, you know, where we would be in 30 or 40 years. And, you know, similar to many young men and women, want to be rich, of course. But for many, it's about the money, or maybe it's about cars or fancy houses. But for Will, he would always talk about, like, I want a lot of money so I can bring all my friends together and we can, you know, sit back on the lake house and just talk about the good memories he had. And like that was like I have a good one here. I had a good friend, and yeah, it was good. It was awesome. And you know, I knew him for 3 years, and it feels like a lifetime. We have made so many good memories together, and so many impactful moments that he had on my life. And I think, similar to what kind of Brendan was saying, you know, I think I'm gonna live my life for Will every day I wake up. You know, everything I do, it's like, you know, I know Will would want me to live the life that I could and live it to the max. So, you know, I would do it for him. And, you know, it's just amazing what he's done for me. And I know that he's up there, guardian angel, whatever you want to call it. And I know he's protecting me and making everything work out for me. And that is invaluable for me. So I'm very appreciative of what he's done for my life. Thank you.
Other folks, anyone else like to share? Yes, please.
All right. Hey, guys. Again, just appreciate, everybody coming out for Will. Sure most of you know, probably haven't seen me around before. I do not attend this school. I grew up with Will. We went to middle school together, went to high school together. We were able to create a lot of great memories together. One of my favorite with Will, it was during COVID. And just to preface, my family, not really the outdoorsy type. We kind of sit inside. I play a lot of Xbox. But Will, if you've spoken to him, he can sell ice to an Eskimo. He can really convince anyone to do anything. So Will was like, why don't you and Matthew's my brother, why don't you and Matt come out? I'm going to bring the kayak. We're going to go fishing. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. So we got this place. It's called the Lamont Quarries. It's about 15 minutes from, where we live. Brought the kayaks out and just had a great day, just on the water, a bunch of turtles, bunch of birds, bunch of fish. It was a great day, and just the fact that, my brother was able to hang out, kind of see, the friend that Will was to me, and, how much he meant to me, it was very meaningful. So just thank you guys for coming. It's great to see all the love in the crowd, and he will be missed.
There'll be plenty of time to share stories, and well, the family's here, but if you want to share a story now, please do. Anyone else like to share a story?
Hi there. My husband, Grandpa Greg, prompted me to come up here. I'm Mary Ellen, and Will called me Nana. Thank you all for being here. The amount of support that my daughter and Nate have received has been amazing. So Will, last 2 years, has come up to EAA, and I think I'm in a crowd that probably knows what the EAA AirAdventure is in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Amazing, amazing enjoyment of aviation. Well, he came up last 2 years, and he flew in. There are some pilots that won't even go near flying into Oshkosh Airport during EAA, as it's the busiest airport in the world in takeoffs and landings that week. 2 years he flew in. This year he came in and he got in a little bit late. So we couldn't get in until after the air show was done. So he was able to land in a little small airport near us, and we were able to pick him up and take him and Carlos out for a little bite to eat, and then he got back on the plane because he was ready to do his circle to get into the Oshkosh Airport and land and camp right out on their field, as most pilots do when they come in. When he took off, he got up and he gave a big rock with his wings, and I knew that was so long, Nana and Papa. And I thought, I knew what that was. So today he's rocking his wings and he's saying so long. And I'm saying, I'll see you again. So thank you all.
My name's Tom. I used to study and work here at the university, which is how I met Will. Wrote down some things I'll share just in case I lose it. But I first met Will a couple years ago at the gym. I shared the story the other day with a few different people. I was struggling to hit my max bench press, which is not a new thing. But he stopped his workout, walked over to me without me even asking for help. He told me in a very marine voice that he was going to help me crush that weight. And sure enough, thanks to him, that's the one and only time I broke past 205 on the bench, and I haven't been able to hit that since then. And looking back on this moment, although it seems small, it really speaks to who Will was as a person. He had no idea who I was or what long title I had at the time at Riddle, but it also didn't matter to him. He just saw someone that he could help do better, and he did that. From there, we stayed in touch over the last few years, and I had the privilege of seeing him have that same spirit with his fellow students and staff at the university time and time again, regardless if they were above him or below him in class or rank. He really had a gift in lifting people's confidence just by being himself and giving him the time of day. One other story I'll share is just from last week. I was out for a walk after what I thought was a tough day, and kind of glad that things worked out this way, but all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, I see some big military-looking dude sprinting full force towards me. Felt like I was about to be taken out by a linebacker for the Steelers or something, which clearly I'm not built to handle. But fortunately, it turned out to be Will running in for a hug and not a tackle. He immediately started telling me all about Officer Candidate School, everything from the constant training to making sure they didn't have to use the silver bullet on him to the infamous Quigley. From what I gathered, OCS can be absolutely grueling and miserable, as some of you all are probably well aware, but Will really loved the challenge and the people that he went through it with. Hell, the enthusiasm he had talking about it almost made me convinced to apply for Marine OCS. But Will knew I'm an Air Force guy at heart. Had I known we'd be here today, I would have really thanked him for everything he's done for me and for this whole community. I've learned a lot over the years from leadership of Reverend Keck, Dean Critchfield, other leadership you all as current students and staff can rely on, that how we help each other is we support each other as much as we can now and work to live our lives in a way that honors Will's memory. That means not only being there for others now as we honor him, but also taking initiative like Will did in helping others in the future do their best. Showing genuine enthusiasm in how we care for and lead others, the kind of enthusiasm that Will always had, really inspires people around us to do great things in life as they chase their dreams. To Will's family, thank you for raising and supporting him in such a way that he was able to bless so many of us. And to Will, although you are no longer with us physically, the positive impacts you've had on us will remain forever. Rest easy, brother. We will miss you deeply.
Had you heard the story about yeah, it's that little moment that reveals character, right? Anyone can do something big when a lot of people are watching, but just that moment of I can go help a stranger. You raised him right. Who else like to share a story?
You might not recognize me. I don't go to this school. Humor. I've got you all beat. I want to tell you about a story in the womb. I knew him when he was in the womb. Guys, I'm telling you what, when your wife pulls you to baby class, don't shrug it off. You might learn something. But God has a plan. And the first day that my wife and I walked into baby class, we knew what that plan was. We knew what that road and what that path was going to be. We were blessed to meet Emily and Nate. My wife was pregnant with my son Jordan, and Emily was pregnant with Will. And you could tell when the women got close enough and this belly started rolling that we were going to have a problem. And it was beautiful. I was going back through pictures, and I was there when he came out. His is August 11th, 10th, close, sorry, I'm old. And a Marine. Watch it. My son is September 2nd. My son is September 4th. My daughter's October 2nd. I'm sorry. So Will was older, and he had no problem even at a young age of letting Jordan know that. But there were daily events that those two were running around, jumping on each other, wrestling. I had a family. I had a brother. I had a sister. I had a nephew. Then came the daughter. Yeah. I thought about it driving down. We left North Carolina yesterday, and I thought about it. My girlfriend. I know you don't remember, but I tell you what it was like yesterday, and I do. And then look what we got. You know, I thank God every day for Facebook because 6, 7, I'm trying to remember the age that you guys took off to Illinois. They were about 6 or 7. Will just turned 22. My son turns 22 in September. And y'all, I have watched you grow up, whether it be on Facebook, whether social media, or just random texts. But I swear it's just like yesterday that they brought you home. And you guys have always been family to us. When we heard the last Monday that there was an accident, that Will had passed away, I hit my knees and I said, all right, God, open up. There's a purpose. I don't know what it is. I called my son. We talked for a little while. And I said, after a little bit, I said, Jordan, I said, you haven't asked what happened. And he said, Dad, does it matter? And I said, I'm proud of you, son. No, it doesn't. He's gone. But for the young people in the room and some of the old people in the room, let me tell you something. Our family's lost about 35 people in the last 4 years. My son lost another good friend of his. But there is a plan. If you pick the airfield over there, pick a plane. All of us can go walk to that plane right now. We've met that where that is. Look above it. Where does it end? Especially you pilot wannabes. It doesn't. Our time here is so short, it's not even measurable. I can put a pin dot right there, and it doesn't even measure the time that we're here on earth. But when that time comes, we're all together again. There's no more goodbye. There's no more sorrow. And I tell you what, the minute that time ends for me, if I'm allowed in, after some explaining, I told you I'm a Marine, there's a salute that I'm going to render in person to Will. One of the proudest moments of my life was when I saw on Facebook that he completed OCS. No matter how bad I told him about the Navy, I'm just kidding. It's good. Guys, it's humor. Come on, it's okay. But guys, there's going to come a time we're all going to be together again. There's never going to be another sorrow. There's never going to be another tear. There's going to be happiness. So live your life to every day to the fullest right now and live it for Will. I love you guys. Thank you.
Wow, a lot more people in here. I think about the journey and getting to this place. It was always what Will wanted to do. We dress up in military outfits. We'd go to the Children's Museum in Greensboro. He'd get behind the yoke and he'd play. We talk a lot about that. We talk about finding your interest and your aptitude and your opportunity. What's that going to be? So along the way, as Will, began to develop his competitive spirit, lots of other things came into his life. Work was one of those things. So Will get the job at Culver's. He was 16, right? 16. Before he was 17, he had the keys to the store. Opening up in the morning, just getting it done. It was amazing. COVID hit, and it was going to be just a little while. We're going to come back 2020. We're going to get back at it. Spring break turned into the rest of the year. And I looked at him and I said, there's a lot of people holding pause. They're hitting the pause button right now. They're saying, we're just going to pause right here. It'll be okay. We'll figure it out in a little bit. We're just going to kind of hang back and we'll figure it out. I said, Will, we don't hit pause. I don't care what everyone else is doing. You and I know your interest. We know your aptitude. And we're going to make an opportunity here. We can homeschool. And he looked at me and he said, that's just for those weird kids. I said, well, this school can be whatever we want it to be. He said, well, what are we going to do? I really want to wrestle. I want to compete. I want to do all these other things. I said, you can still take a couple of classes at your high school and you can compete on the wrestling team, do all the things that you want to do. But if you want to be a pilot, today's the day we start. Now, he had done Civil Air Patrol. He'd gone up a few times. And I said, okay, first part of your curriculum, we're going to do flight training. So I donned our school, homeschool name, the Illinois Interest and Aptitude Academy. He was my first and only graduate. Highly successful. Every one of our students received the NROTC scholarship, Marine option, 100%. So we started that, and I said, well, our curriculum, we're going to follow your interests in aviation. The local FBO right next to where he took pilot training, they chartered aircraft. I said, okay, well, you're going to learn how to flush a toilet. You're going to learn how to clean up inside the airplanes, everything, and you're going to talk to the pilots about their path to now and how you're going to navigate all of it. And he would do that. As he was draining the toilets and getting everything cleaned up, he would talk to everybody about how they got to where they got to. And I think that was his fast forward button. Because there are a lot of people that are going to tell you about the things that they regretted. Will was not a person who had regrets. He just did it. He'd wake up and say, I'm going to run 22 miles. And then he did it. He'd go out to the lacrosse team, never picking up a lacrosse stick in his entire life, and he made varsity. He just did it. It was amazing. So we finish his first year. He gets his pilot's license. It's pretty awesome. And we said, well, everybody's back at school now. Do you want to go back? And he said, no, I'm on the fast track. I'm going to go even further. So we said, okay, well, we're going to apply for the Naval Academy. So we're going to get everything in order there. And he did that. The best thing that ever happened is he didn't get that scholar. He didn't get into the academy because this is the best place for Will. All the people here is just absolutely amazing. He did it. So, in life, got all these people, right? In a world where we tell kindergartners, you can be anything you want to be. But I would imagine many of you, as high school seniors, were thinking, I am more confused than I've ever been in my entire life. I don't know which way to go. I don't know what to do. My guess is you guys been there? So, when we raise our young people and we keep thinking, you'll eventually figure it out. You'll eventually figure it out. I think it's the wrong message. I think the message for every single person is to start thinking about what is it you're interested in, right? Where are some opportunities to get something more from that, develop those skills, because that circle that keeps turning is the circle that turned Will. When everybody says, how did he get to that spot? We would ask ourselves, what are we interested in? What opportunities do we have? What skills can we gain? And then we'd learn something new when we gain a new skill. And we'd say, well, that's pretty amazing. I could even do that, and I could even do that, and I could even do that. He never stopped. So if you're wondering how Will, the Energizer Bunny, got his energy and got to where he got to, he had those simple things in mind: interest, opportunity, and skills. So Brendan had said, I talked to him early today as we were cleaning up all this stuff. And I was angry. We had done something. We had gotten to the place. He was this close to the finish line on so many things. And I said, what does it matter? We didn't finish the race. And I talked to Brendan. He said, Will made such a difference in me and everybody that he was with. All of those people are running that race. All of those people learned the lessons from Will, and they're going to take that thing forward. I said, okay. You're right. Maybe he was a force multiplier. Maybe this isn't just about Will succeeding. It's about every other person being better, being faster, being stronger, being more kind, being more patient with every other person that they're with because of Will. So it gives me a lot of pleasure to hear people talk about who my son was to them, because I know who he was to me. So if everybody takes that lesson, being kinder, working harder, if someone's going to pass you and pat you on the butt, you better get after it and push. Compete. Competing isn't about winning. Competing is about striving together. And if somebody doesn't give you a little tap on the butt and start running past you, you're not going to get to what you could be. So when you get to the finish line, you turn and you thank that person for pushing you harder than you would have pushed yourself. Will was that person. Thank you all for being here. Very soon, we will have a celebration of life for Will. Haven't gotten that far yet, but we will. And when we get there, I want to see you all talk about what you've done from today to that point, because it's inside of you. It was inside of him. So, thank you.
Thank you. Beautifully done. We gather here to honor your son, and you honor him so beautifully. Thank you. After the ceremony, we'll have a guest book available. I'd like to invite folks to sign in the guest book. If you are a member of ROTC, if you could just delay that, let others do that first. We'll make that available, the guest book available through ROTC, and you all who are part of the battalion and can sign it at your leisure. We'll mail it back to the family. But they just want to make sure folks have a chance to sign and record their presence here as well. In a moment, we'll have our closing prayer, and then we'll invite our Marines and Marine Ops and midshipmen to lead us in the singing in the Marines hymn. And then finally, we'll hear a very powerful song, Taps, in recognition of his service and acknowledgement of our loss. Let's pray together. Gracious and loving God, this is a hard day. There are tears and some laughter, some wonderful memories, but there are broken hearts and aching souls. But through all that, we still say thank you. We thank you for Will and all the good he brought into the world, all that you did through him for so many people. Friends who are here and shared stories, those who aren't able to be here, those who are watching online, those who treasure a memory or just a lot of fun times in their hearts. We thank you for all of that, dear God. We thank you for Will and for blessing him with his family and allowing him to bless his family. We thank you for his blessing of all his colleagues and friends here. We thank you for making him in your image and loving him as you did. We thank you for receiving him into your everlasting arms and arms of love and embrace. We thank you for allowing us to share these memories here today. Guide all those who are here according to your will and help them to run the race and not to give up. Help them to see that finish line and keep encouraging each other, patting each other on the butt as needed. Do what it takes to be like Will, to be inspired by him. And may in those moments of running or in just pausing and asking how someone's doing or assisting someone to lift some weights or whatever it is, may that spirit continue to live on, and so that we may know your victory over death, even in the sorrow. And may you grant that peace which you have promised, the peace which passes all understanding, to those who grieve and mourn this day. We pray this in the name of Will's Savior. And let all God's children say, amen. Invite everyone to stand. I'd like to invite our Marines and Marine Ops and midshipmen to lead us in the singing of the first verse of the Marines hymn.
Thank you.
Go in peace and bless others as Will has blessed you. And let all God's children say, amen.